Hey there. So let's talk about three very fundamental questions that are asked in photography, and any photographer needs to look at these things. And these questions actually define the parameter on which the photography is based. The first question is, how much of light is available? Light is the most fundamental aspect of photography, and the availability of light is really important to photography, because at the end of the day, the word photography relates to photons relate to light eventually. Now the next question is, how much of light is allowed to enter to hit the sensor of a camera? So there is this availability of light, and there is how much of that light is allowed to enter, which primarily depends upon what is going to be the size of the opening through which light enters. And the third important question is, for what duration? Depending upon how long the sensor of the camera is exposed to light, affects the way the images are captured on the camera. Now, when you look at photography, in a lot of concepts, you will hear about something called exposure triangle, or exposure triad, or anything. So there are three fundamental things that relate to photography. One is the ISO, which is the sensitivity of the sensor to the light available. Second is the aperture size, which effectively defines the depth of field, and the third is shutter speed, which which defines how fast light is allowed to enter. Actually, light has its own speed, but the duration for which the camera sensor is exposed to the light, that is defined by shutter speed, and that defines how much of light is captured by that sensor. So if the shutter opens like this and closes like this, there's going to be a long duration for which light is going to fall on the sensor. But if the shutter opens something like this, it's going to be a very different. So this is the most important thing one should remember when it comes to photography: the ISO, exposure sensitivity of the camera lens; the aperture, which defines the depth of field; and the shutter speed, which is primarily used, to capture. If you understand it well, you'll be able to capture moving objects really well. So we will touch upon these concepts in a few more videos, but this was just an introduction to these three. If you watch it 2-3 times, and if you grasp these three concepts, you will be able to get into photography really well, and you'll become a really good photographer. Now, when it comes to DSLR camera, right, every DSLR camera has this kind of a button which puts the camera in certain mode. A lot of times people use, when they are new to photography and when they are new to DSLR, they used more of a, I would say, auto mode, right? This one. So in that case, the auto, this button is aligned with this white kind of button. When you put it at one of these, when you align one of these alphabets to this white dot, it puts the camera in certain priority. A here relates to the aperture, which is one of these three things, and S, which is aperture, is given priority, and there is a dedicated button which controls the aperture. So while doing the photography, you can control the aperture, and with the second button you can control the other parameter. Putting it to S puts it in shutter speed priority mode, so you can accurately define a shutter speed for a particular amount of light available. And there is this manual mode, and there are certain other modes, but I think at the end of the day you need to understand that there are three things, there are three triads in photography: ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. And at a single go you can control two of them. It is very difficult to control three of them, because the third one is usually kind of derived once you set these two, and that leads to a good photography. uh, we will come up with certain more videos to give live demos of these concepts. Till then, have a good time. You can have a look at this video 2-3 times, and maybe read about these concepts 2-3 times, or in 2-3 references, and you will understand the photography better. The reason I'm touching upon these things is that with the new age where phones are available, we have a lot of automated photography options available, but the greatest work by photographers are not done through automated cameras. They are not done through iPhone cameras. They are not done through any other cameras. There has to be a manual control on the photography, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, and the dexterity comes from paying attention and learning from each click that you do. So hope to see you in the next video, and have a good time. Just keep learning. Bye bye.